Welcome to day 7 of what me and my dog eat for 30 days after 5 years on a carnivore diet. I am documenting and tracking every single thing that me and my dog consume for 30 days on a carnivore diet, and then at the end of each video, I go over the nutritional breakdown and the cost. And as this series continues, I'm taking what we've learned from the first couple weeks to try to create a more balanced and well-rounded way of eating on the carnivore diet. So if this kind of thing resonates with you and you want to follow along as we try to optimize this diet, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the future videos in this series. I've already got 32 ounces of water down, but if you've been following along on the series, you will have probably guessed what I'm going to have for breakfast, and that is going to be ground beef. So like normal, a very basic, a very cheap, and a very easy breakfast. All right, so I have 17 ounces of local beef from a local butcher shop. My bone broth is also coming along very nicely. I'll be pulling this off in just a few minutes. And that bone broth is going to be mostly for my dog, but I'm sure I'll be dipping into that as well at some point, which is one of the great things about carnivore. It's a diet that me and my dog can share. And just an update, after eating all that chicken last night, I ate like 27 ounces of chicken. I feel pretty darn good, actually. I woke up feeling really good. I was not hungry at all, but I'm gonna go ahead and eat so that I can eat again later, because if I don't and I wait, it'll be an OMAD day for me. I will not want to eat again because I will not be hungry. All right, meal 1, day 7, about to be in the books. I have my burger patties. I've got 2 tablespoons of Irish butter, and of course, pink Himalayan salt. About to down this. Now again, this burger is roughly 75-25, but since I cooked it on the grill, some of the fat did render off, so I'll log it as 80-20 to account for that. All right, Shawnee's patiently waiting. I got her food ready, so it's time for her to eat. All right, so on the menu tonight, we have 16 ounces of chicken leg quarter. It's deboned, and there's some chicken backs in there for some raw meaty bones. Now, this cost me $1.79 from a local butcher shop. We have 5 ounces of local ground beef. This is 80-20 from my local butcher shop. I get this for $2.99 a pound. I've got 5 ounces of chicken gizzards with some chicken heart. I get this from a local butcher for $1.59 a pound. I have 1 ounce of beef tripe. I get this for $2.99 a pound from a local butcher shop. I got 1 ounce of deer kidney. This is free. I sourced that myself. And I have 2 ounces of chicken feet, aka 2 chicken feet, and I get this for $2.24 a pound. And last but not least, hiding in the back here, I have 1 cup of bone broth. That's the broth I made today, and I'm gonna dump that right over top of the meal. So a quick cost breakdown for this meal: 16 ounces of chicken leg quarter is $1.79. 5 ounces of local beef is 95 cents. 5 ounces of chicken gizzard is 40 cents. Heart is included in that. 1 ounce of tripe is 19 cents. Deer kidney is free. Bone broth is free. And 2 ounces of chicken feet is 28 cents. So the total cost for this entire meal is $3.61, which comes down to $2.06 a pound. So again, I say this every time, but for the people that say carnivore is not affordable, that is not a fact. And pound for pound, nutrient for nutrient, this is the best you can get. All right, dinner time for me is not happening today. So I actually have to get up pretty early in the morning, and I've been out cutting grass pretty much all day. So it's already 10 o'clock. I don't want to eat right before I go to bed because I'm about to go to bed now. So I've just chosen to fast until in the morning. And honestly, I'm not really hungry. And I think that's one of the best things about carnivore is that the hunger signals I do get now are very subtle. And I don't get like ravagingly hungry like I used to. Now, it's like a very subtle nudge. I don't have to eat immediately when I get hungry. My energy levels don't dip down. None of that stuff happens anymore. So me only eating breakfast today and only getting a little over 1,000 calories, I'm totally fine not eating tonight and waiting until in the morning. And I'll wake up first thing in the morning and I'm still gonna go through my normal routine. I'm gonna get my workout in. I'll work out for at least an hour, and then I'll come up here and I'll eat. So we're gonna go ahead and go through the nutritional breakdown and the cost for the day. And I think this is gonna be kind of an interesting experiment anyway, because there are a lot of people out there that only eat 1 meal a day. They do OMAD. And unless you're eating a full day's worth of food in a single sitting, then you might actually be lacking on nutrients. And something like that over a long period of time may not be optimal. So before we get into that, let's talk about cost. So my dog's meal today was $3.61, which came out to $2.06 a pound. And strangely enough, the 17 ounces of ground beef I ate and the 2 ounces of butter I had this morning came out to $3.61. So both meals somehow miraculously came out to the same cost. And those two meals combined, feeding myself and feeding my dog, was $7.22. All right, so again, that's only half a day's worth of eating for me, but still very cheap. So the total calories consumed today was 1,428 calories. I am actually in a deficit of 1,483 calories. Now, one thing that is kind of important to note, I have been eating at a calorie surplus the entire week. And that's not because I've been forcing myself to eat at a surplus. That's just what I felt like eating. So my total surplus was 6,125 calories. And I've been weighing myself this week. I think I weighed myself this morning, I was still 168. And obviously everybody's different. You know, everybody's gonna have a different experience if you're eating that amount of food. There are people that will probably gain weight. For me, I've always had a hard time gaining weight. And that was true up until I started powerlifting and I really upped my carb intake and I was eating like 60% carbohydrates. I gained weight pretty fast actually. And I gained quite a bit of fat along with the muscle I was gaining. Now I'm eating the same amount of calories I was back then on average, and I do not gain weight. I can gain muscle, but I do not gain fat. So my fat to protein ratio today was 63% fat, 37% protein. So going down the list here, vitamin C, 0, I expected that. Somehow I hit my RDA with iron with just a little over a pound of meat, so that's good. I got 5 times my RDA of B12 with just 1 pound of ground beef. Calcium, I got 14% of my RDA. Folate, 9%. Vitamin A, 23%. Potassium, 39%. Creeping up on half. If I would have eaten again, I probably could have brought most of that stuff up in a pretty optimal range, depending on what I ate. So B1, that one's been consistently a little lower than my RDA, except for I think one day, but 18% is pretty low. B2 is 64%, still not bad, still in the upper range. B3 is good. B5 was 55%, so that one I didn't hit my RDA on that one. B6 was good, met my RDA. Vitamin D, 2%. I expected that to be pretty low because it's also been pretty consistently low. But as we've talked about in previous videos, nutritional sources of vitamin D, for me anyway, don't really matter too much because I'm outside every single day in the sunlight, and that's the best way to absorb vitamin D. But obviously if I was to eat, you know, fatty fish, seafood, eggs, things like that, I could bump that up pretty easy. Vitamin E and vitamin K, I expected both those to be pretty low because those are two that have been pretty low consistently, except for the days I added in organs, and I think seafood and poultry actually bumped one of those up as well. But both those are 8%, so obviously the ground beef I had didn't have much vitamin D, E, or K. Copper, 42%, not too bad for a pound of ground beef. Not too bad. That one's been one that I've maxed out pretty consistently. Magnesium is actually a lot higher than I thought it would be. 26% on that one. Manganese, this is one that's been consistently low. So this is kind of interesting though, because I think it's sometimes up in like the teens and stuff, but there's only 2% of my RDA in that 16 ounces, 17 ounces of ground beef I had. As I've talked about previously, I really don't think I'll be able to bump that up based off of what we've seen so far until I include different types of seafood like oysters and things like that. So phosphorus I maxed out. Potassium, we talked about that one. Selenium is maxed out. Sodium, 78%. Zinc, I actually hit almost 3 times my RDA, so that's not bad. And as far as fats go, cholesterol, 485 milligrams. This is kind of interesting. Based off what I ate, the butter and the beef, I'm actually higher on the omega-6 side. So for whatever reason, it thinks that ground beef was higher in omega-6 than omega-3s, that or the butter, one of the two. But it could be just the information that's entered in the chronometer. I wouldn't want to see that every single day, that's for sure. I would want that omega-3 to be much higher. But for a single day, it's not going to hurt me. I'm not concerned with this. So saturated fat, that one's maxed out. And then going down the list here, proteins. I got 121 grams of protein today, and I got 100 grams of fat. So that's actually not too bad. But all the essential amino acids, all the proteins, all those are maxed out. I hit my RDA and exceeded my RDA on every single one of those. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That just goes to show you how nutritionally complete meat actually is. And for having only eaten just one time today and just a little over a pound of meat, it hasn't really put me in that much of a bad place. So it's pretty easy to see how I could use that as a base and build off that and really bump up my RDA on a lot of this stuff. If you are eating OMAD, this is probably something you kind of want to watch out for, because if you're chronically under eating and you're not getting enough nutrients through the food you're eating, that could potentially become a problem over the long term. But for single day, I'm good with this. I feel good. I'm going to wake up very light in the morning. My workout's probably going to be pretty intense. And I'm sure I'll make up for this tomorrow because I'm definitely not fasting again. I am going to eat my 2 full meals, and they're probably going to be pretty large proportions. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like, subscribe, join the Apex Tribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the future videos in this series. And I'll see you on day 8. All right, peace out.